Because if you're a conspiracy theorist, you can always write it off as the powers that be, that right there is going to make that guy that he's trying to speak to absolutely, it's going to piss him off.
K. Jr., the conspiracy theorist whose propaganda helped fan the flames of a measles outbreak that killed 83 people, has been appointed to be the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Let's try this again. This video came out yesterday. It's part 2 to a however many part series. He said at least 3, but it could be more. And this is, I think, his biggest project to date, so it's a lot to it. It's a big project, so it's going to be at least 3 parts. And the guy he talks about in this video and in the reels is kind of crazy. Legit. See if I can just get a still of the... Come on, Many Minute Man. What, you think it's your channel where you gotta be in 90% of the video? Like, I'm struggling to find any of the Shane vibes. Here we go. No, it's still him! That's gross, whatever it is. It might not be gross, but it look gross. Anyways, the Shane guy is pretty crazy, and he peddles some pretty nasty conspiracy theory crap, and he's constantly pushing his supplements, or at least the supplements that he gets a commission on the sales for. He should probably invest in the company if he's pushing their product so hard. And I will say that I wanted to get into the health supplements market with hyphenation and the mushroom farm. And one day I still might do that. I never say never to any kind of business plan. But currently, I'm going to pivot to gourmet mushrooms because there is a really thriving, there is a farmer's market in this town that is thriving, and they don't have a mushroom guy right now. So I can be the mushroom guy, and that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to do a little bit of market research this coming up weekend. I'm just going to go to the farmer's market. I don't want to rent a booth or any other location for the market research stuff. I just want to go down there and talk to people, and I just got to figure out what the best way for me to do that is. Not what the best way for me to approach people would be, and how to figure out what kind of gourmet mushrooms that this town would like. And I talked to a guy down there last weekend, and he said they used to have a mushroom guy. And I was like, because whenever I went down there to talk about it, I was like, hey, I grow mushrooms, I have a mushroom farm. Do y'all have a mushroom guy? And he told me, no, we used to, but he stopped showing up for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. And where was I going with that? Oh, I asked the guy, I was like, well, are mushrooms people in this town would want? Would they like for me to become the new mushroom guy? And he told me, he was like, yeah, he did really well, he just stopped showing up. So I say, I don't know the details of anything, ever. But they don't have a mushroom guy right now, and hopefully I can step in and become the new mushroom guy. Because look at me, I look like a mushroom guy. I accepted that fate, and I'm not too upset about it either. If I'm going to be a guy, mushroom guy is a good one. Currently, I'm mustache guy, and I'm cool with that one too. But if I could be mushroom guy, that would be even better. But back to this. Wait, I didn't finish my original point. So what I was originally going to do with hyphenation was try to make health supplements for humans. And this Shane guy, he is pushing health supplements, specifically chalk, which I think that's a bad idea because the way, I'm thinking of charcoal. I'm thinking of the wrong substance. Chalk might be okay. I just know that if you consume charcoal, the bottles of charcoal water and stuff like that, the charcoal has tons of little tiny pores in it. Even in a bottle of charcoal water, the microscopic charcoal flakes, I guess, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, they can scoop up the nutrients of food you eat. They get stuck in the pockets of the charcoal. Same goes for medication, and the charcoal will coat it or capture it so that it just goes right through your digestive system. The medication or nutrition never touches your upper intestine to be able to be absorbed, and your body just pushes out the charcoal, and it has the nutrients or medication in it. I'm not going to speak on if chalk is similar, because I don't know. So I retract that statement. But I'm not going to lie to you guys either about why I'm telling you this. I had an idea for mushrooms, and I had a business name. I just would not want my freaking name attached to it because the idea is MAGA mushrooms. And the target audience, of course, would be people that are into MAGA. You know who I'm talking about. And the gimmick, how I was going to push it, try to get people to buy it, is saying, are you tired of getting into arguments with libtards and them walking away with their smug face? They really dominated the conversation. Well, let's be honest, folks, they probably did. But now, I bring to you MAGA mushrooms. This blend of our proprietary blend of different mushrooms and B12 vitamins You take these before you get in an argument with a libtard, and you'll walk away the smug one. See? I think it's a good idea. I just don't want to be associated with MAGA. So if someone is watching this and they're like, I don't care, I'll be associated, just for you putting your name on that, I'll go 50-50 with you. So what I'm saying is, I understand where this Shane Vibes guy is coming from. I understand the market that he is targeting, because I considered doing it as well. But I just don't want to be attached to anything like that at all. So I didn't, but I get it, is what I'm trying to say. But he's peddling some really crazy stuff. It's not good. And Mini Minute Man, he of course goes through his claims and debunks them and different things of that nature, which most of them are so outlandish you really don't need to bother debunking them. It's just not true on its face. At least I think so, that's obvious. Not the case for many other people. But towards the end of this video, Mini Minute Man, he does a plea to Shane Vibes. He's like, hey man, I'm trying to connect to you on a personal level, human to human. Mini Minute Man doesn't have any kids, but Shane Vibes does. And Mini Minute Man was basically saying, we'll watch it here in a sec, was basically saying, you don't want to peddle this type of misinformation, especially if you have children. This is not the type of behavior that promotes a prosperous future. Those are my words, not his. And I hate to say it, Mini Minute Man, but that is not how you talk to these people. That will not work. That is playing exactly into the caricature they have in their mind of you, which is of a weak, effeminate liberal. And I've been making videos and streams recently about fighting anti-intellectualism, and I'm trying to figure out how I can do it. How can I fight this battle or participate in it? And the only, I hate to say this is not good. Straight up, this isn't a good thing. At least I don't think it is. Opinions can vary, of course. But the only way I've gotten through to these types of conspiracy people wasn't heart to heart having a real conversation, because I've tried that. I tried that for years, because it's like, you got to speak to them on an emotional level, you got to meet them where they're at, and speak to their hearts and not their minds, like that kind of approach. And that's what I've been doing for the past decade. About a decade, not a full decade. But that doesn't work. I've tried it with so many different people. I used to be an over-the-road truck driver, so I would travel all over the lower 48 states, and I would talk to people in every state I go to, not just people at distribution centers or truck stops. One of my favorite things to do was, when I get to a new city, I would order up an Uber or a Lyft, and I would go to the downtown area and go to the bars and get drunk, and I would just talk to people. Just whoever would talk to me, I would talk to them. So I have a lot of experience talking to people all over the country with all kinds of different attitudes and belief structures and everything else. And I'm not going to try to sway someone that I just met. That just wouldn't be appropriate, because I don't know that person. But I will talk to them and listen to them about why they feel the way they do, or why they do things the way they do, or what's their history. I love that kind of stuff. I want to get as much, some people don't like it, and I get it, but I want to get as much detail out of a person as I can. As many details out of a person as I can, because I just like that kind of stuff. I'm nosy, I'm not gonna lie. Part of it is just because I'm nosy, but that leads to a lot of really good knowledge that I picked up over the years. Freaking spit builds up here, so I always have to have a napkin whenever I'm talking a lot. I'm sure people have noticed, but let's see when he talks to him.
I want to show you what is my favorite part of this entire stream. And that is, it's very brief, so you're going to miss it. So if you're folding your laundry or washing your fucking dishes, come to your screen.
Let's see. Oh, I love that. He just put it in a Zen pouch, and he's constantly talking about how they are trying to poison us and they are putting chemicals in the food and stuff. And he just popped a Zen pouch in his mouth, and if you don't know, those are synthetic nicotine crystals. Holy crap, want to talk about chemicals. That is the most chemical. And it's highly addictive. Like a synthetic nicotine, they're going to be able to engineer that in a way that makes it as addictive as possible. And not from just making it stronger and stronger, but I'm sure there's other chemicals they could put in there that are just that, if not more addictive than nicotine. Here in America, I'm sure they have no problem doing that kind of stuff, because our FDA regulations suck. That's why people like me are able to sell health supplements without any kind of approval. We can just put either not FDA approved, just put that on the package. That's good. And I buy Kratom all the time, and Kratom says not to be used to treat any disease or condition. That's what they have to put on the label. So you can just do that kind of crap in America. We are so loose with so many things. It's really insane. But look at him. He just,
Oh my god. It's just, I couldn't script something this fucking funny. Here comes.
Seriously, I encourage everyone to go watch this video. I'm not going to sit here and watch the whole thing. Especially, I don't even know if it came out 24 hours ago. So I'm not trying to, not that I would get an amount of views to really leech any of his views away from the video. But, what if? So, I'm not. Let me see if I can find his plea.
So here are my fucking bullets. Write this shit down. Get your notebooks out. The issues are as follows. Shane frequently scaremongers using widely disproven health 5% to 30%, leaving scores of
That's sad.
lobotomizes all of us. Our world is plagued. Heads of the same beast. Heads of the tried to shirk any responsibility for the theorists. By that December of 2019, needed to secure herd immunity that would protect the entire population, leaving the population of this island vulnerable. Now, if you thought that 75% number was bad, bombarded, 1-year-olds dropped from children released onto the island. At were the babies who, by that 6 12
RFK Jr. killed a bunch of babies. Like, that is true. That happened. There's no debate. The dude went to this place and was like, hey guys, don't get vaccinated, or at least he was behind the organization that went and did that, and a bunch of kids died. Crazy, right? A bunch of babies died.
12 months had contracted measles. 20%. Many of these children's parents who were victims of the propaganda from these anti-vaccine influencers did not contract measles because they themselves had been vaccinated.
That's the craziest part too. It's like, you are benefiting from the science and technology that you are denying to your children. That just seems like something you shouldn't do. I don't know.
Still distrusting of the first 70 deaths had affected more than 5 for the 20 minute call to heal. And ever again, the deaths were completely in the hands of the Junior of.
Even though I know a lot of people think RFK.
I get it. It's a gimmick, but it's not a good gimmick. At least paint an eyeball on the tinfoil triangle, am I right?
Is a total wingnut self-defense. I'll agree with.
RFK Jr., the conspiracy theorist whose propaganda helped fan the flames of a measles outbreak that killed 83 people, has been appointed to be the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services, which is as fucking Christ. Pissed me off so fucking weasel that he is. Tried to shirk the territory. I just wanted to make a wad of not only on the gummy examples of the danger of health conspiracy theories. And I think that they exemplify why what Shane is doing here is so fucking dangerous. It is my personally held belief that all conspiracy theorists start off as victims. People whose trust and care about them, but are using them. Theorists are not really conspiracy theorists. They're victims of conspiracy. All victims of conspiracy theories deserve a chance. It is everyone's responsibility to treat them with patience and help them understand the topics that they don't. After all, being tricked and lied to is completely forgivable.
Oh my god, I tried that. It just doesn't work. They're not interested. They don't care about the truth. They are looking to feel better. And to, like, feel better as in, like, I'm sick, oh, and like, oh, I feel good, I'm healed. They're looking to feel more righteous than other people. So when you bring them the facts and you bring them the statistics to show them that, hey, what you're pushing here is not good and it's actually hurting people, that just makes them double down. I've seen it so many times, like with family members, with friends, coworkers, just anyone that you try to address these things with from the perspective of, hey, look, you've been tricked. Let me show you how you've been tricked. Perhaps I can even get into why I think you were tricked. Maybe not. You know, whenever you get into that territory about, like, and this is why you were tricked. You're an idiot. You know, people don't like that. But regardless, it doesn't really matter because they're not going to listen to you. And if someone finds a way to approach these people in a way that they will, please let me know, because I would love to be able to break through the veil, like the veil, and actually get these people to see the light, so to speak. And maybe on this journey, I'll see the light and I'll be like, oh my god, all of this stuff is true and the earth is flat and the aliens are controlling everything we do or whatever. I don't know, maybe I will. I don't think that'll happen, but I never say never to that kind of stuff. You know, completely lose my marbles. That's not an option.
It is also my belief that Shane was once one of these victims, and he took the bait hook, line, and sinker. But rather than just sitting with his own ignorance, or God forbid, actually educating himself, Shane has instead decided to spread it, to poison others, and to profit off of their fear.
Yeah, that's what they do.
The way that I see it, this is
And if anyone wants to do that with MAGA mushrooms, as long as I don't have to attach my name to it, give me to you in the comments or out to me is what I'm saying. Because we're going to school those libtards with our proprietary mushroom blend and B12 vitamins.
Completely inexcusable. Shane seemingly has no medical background whatsoever, meaning that his anecdotes about health and medicine are not coming from some deep understanding of an authority figure. Rather than that, Shane is a sheep. Isn't that a movie? Shane the Sheep. That's the one. Instead of talking about legitimate health concerns and the research behind them, Shane obediently regurgitates the talking points of the elites that he trusts.
This is something that drives me absolutely insane about the conspiracy people. It's what he just said. They hate the elites and they hate the institution, but once someone they like becomes an elite and they control an institution, all of a sudden they're going to be repeating every single talking point that this being has put out there.
People like Alex Jones and RFK Jr. Like both the elites that he idolizes, Shane has also built a career off of spreading lies and deceit and profiting off of it immensely. While the scale and tone may absolutely be different, as far as I'm concerned, Shane, Alex Jones, and RFK Jr. are three heads of the same beast. Heads of the hydra of disinformation that is picking the flesh from the bones of the civilized world. None of them
I love
seem
how
to
descriptive he is. He's really good with his words.
give a flying fuck about what is true or ethical, simply what's going to make them the most money.
That's one that drives me crazy about the conspiracy theorists, like my peers, not these out-of-touch millionaires and stuff that peddle the conspiracy crap online. Let me see, what are you saying?
Flying fuck about what is true.
Yeah, I don't care about the truth. That's what I'm talking about when you bring them facts and statistics and studies and research and show them facts, like show them the truth. They don't believe you. They think it's all lies. They think that you're the sheep and that you're the fool. And it's like, of course I feel that the same way about them. So it's not like I can sit here and say that I don't get it, like understand it, like how they feel, but it's just how did you come to these different conclusions when presented the same information? And I know that no two people on this earth have or will ever have the same experience. It just doesn't exist. Just because you are presented with information in the same exact way as someone sitting right next to you, you're experiencing it differently. You see, and that took me a really long time to understand, because I did have the mindset of if they could just see the same things I saw, then they'd wake up. But that just simply is not the case, unfortunately.
Or ethical, simply what's going to make them the most money. RFK Jr. works closely with a law firm that specializes in vaccine lawsuits. He makes scenes because he cares about you. He does it because it makes him a lot of money. Alex Jones has spent a lifetime building a platform that prays. Alex Jones doesn't spread false flag panic because he cares about you. He does it because it's making him a lot of money, spreading every single conspiracy he can think of. He uses these conspiracies to push a promo and talk about these conspiracy theories because he cares about you. He does it because it's making him a lot of money. Like all conspiracy theorists, they claim to be free thinkers and champions of fact and truth, but they
are not. Like, peddle the most obvious lies imaginable. I just don't get it.
Are the sharks that circle in the bloody waters of our systemic failures. They hunt for the poor and the fearful and the angry and the desperate, whether it be on a remote island under generations of foreign occupation, or in a rural American town, stricken with poverty, industries long shuttered, home to people who have been left behind by an empire to whom they have served their purpose. Conspiracy grifters claim to be aware of society's failures, that they can see the darkness through its torn fabric. But this is a lie, because
yes. There's so much of this that just blows my mind from the perspective of the people falling for it. They don't care about the truth. And that's what drives me the most insane. It's just don't care. And I can't speak for all of the conspiracy people, but that doesn't just include the kinds of conspiracy stuff they're paying attention to. Like, they don't give a damn about the truth, point blank, period. It doesn't matter what it's about. It doesn't matter what it pertains to. They don't want actual true information in their life. Like, it's so weird because you'll be with one of these people looking at the same exact thing, you know. And as stated earlier, I understand that no one's having the same experience. No two people are experiencing the same thing in their mind. They're having different experiences. But it's like situations where you say the sky is blue and they'll look up and be like, nah, I don't think so. What? Just like really simple things that are true, they reject outright. They don't want any truth in their lives. And I've seen it get really bad with like interpersonals. And it's like, can't you see what's happening right in front of you? Don't you connect these dots, you know? Like,
every single grifter, from conspiracy theorist to CEO to politician to president to king, are riding atop the wheel that is crushing us. And they prey on that pressure that all of us can feel, and they offer to sell us salvation while they're sitting on our chests. I know that I compared conspiracy grifters to sharks earlier, but that was too generous. Conspiracy grifters are more like rats. They don't have the power to create the system, and many of them don't even really have the power to truly benefit from it. Instead, they are something much worse, the sniveling, obedient foot soldiers of it, diligently doing the dirty work of the elites they claim to despise, keeping we the divided along arbitrary lines of politics, race, religion, sex, and creed.
I agree with everything that Mini Minute Man just said there.
Conspiracy grifters are the final iteration of the conspiracy theory victim. Domesticated and unquestioning, traitors to their class and people, fighting to keep alive a system that sodomizes all of us.
And I agree with that as well. And, like, how do I say it? Like, I don't like accusing people of being bigots just because of any reason, really. But I've just talked to too many of these people that it really does all come down to bigotry. And that isn't just conspiracy stuff. I feel like that one's pretty obvious, you know? Pretty left-wing guy. I'm not socialist, communist, anything like that. I'm a liberal. I'm a Democrat. I believe, problems, don't get me wrong, but I do like what they try to accomplish here in the States. I wish they would go a little further and have a little more aggressive of a strategy, for sure, but it is what it is, right? Back on sec.
Class and people fighting to keep alive.
So whenever I try to push stuff like universal healthcare, which isn't like a socialist ideal at all, I'm aware it's not. Like, most of Europe is capitalist. It's ultra-capitalist. So it's not really logical to say that universal healthcare would be socialist, in my opinion. It has social benefits, but that doesn't mean it's socialist. Like, we would have to own the hospitals and stuff for it to be socialist. I think that's how that works. But whenever I try to advocate for this, and I've been doing it since 2015. This one is something I've been advocating for at least a decade. And this is one of the things I would bring up whenever I would be in other states and cities, and I'd bring up to people at bars. And after you get a couple of drinks in them, they'll just straight up tell you, oh, there's too many black people. There's too many Mexicans. There's just different stuff like that whenever I'm advocating for stuff like universal healthcare. And they'll just straight up, they will say, if America, the United States, was mostly it is white people, but if it was an overwhelming majority of white people, over 90%, they would be down for universal health care. That's bigotry, right? Am I crazy there? That's bigotry? I feel like it is. And it's kind of okay, so I'm advocating for things that people want, but they refuse to have it if it means that guy over there also has it, And guy over there, was white, they wouldn't have a problem with it. But since that guy over there is black, it's that's only not live in a world where white people, black people, Hispanic people, whatever, any other race are on the same playing field. They want that hierarchy to be there, and they want white men specifically to be at the top. And everyone under them just has to suck it up and deal with it. Just whatever the white men at top decide is the way it is, they just got to deal with it, And that. I'm really, really, really that. I am an anarchist in that sense, that I don't believe in hierarchies. I think that they cause more problems than anything else. And people like Jordan Peterson, who constantly try to frame the world of only being able to exist within these hierarchies, I feel is very bad. That's bad. You shouldn't do that, right? Why wouldn't all be on the same field? Why should we have elevated and lowered? And that's not me trying to say that someone like a doctor shouldn't be well respected and well compensated for their time and effort and what they do for the community. It just means that at the end of the day, whenever a doctor, this is a bad example, but we're just going to go with it. But at the end of the day, when the doctor gets sick and when your average black man gets sick, they should have access to all of the same resources, in the field. You see what I mean? There shouldn't be a hierarchy there. And currently there is. And the people that are against things like universal healthcare want that hierarchy to get more strict and more restrained, the amount of people that are able to climb the ladder. So it's how do you fight for things like universal healthcare when the vast majority of people want it, but they just don't want it if that guy also gets it? I just don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to fight against it. Let me in the comments.
Live a system that sodomizes all of us. Our world is plagued with injustice, crippled by bigotry, and poisoned by the industries and actions of the corrupt elites who are getting rich off our backs. And as such, we live in a world that is wounded. Some seek to heal this wound, but conspiracy grifters, like botflies, seek to lay their eggs in it, to infect.
See, I want to be part of the healing, world to prosper, and I want the United States of America to be worth living in, and I, say that it isn't worth it right now, but progressively it's becoming not so great. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but I definitely have. It's what? If we want the same basic things, why do we have such trouble accomplishing them? And I know the answer to that one. It's the hierarchy. It's everybody being on the same level playing field. That's unacceptable to a lot of people.
Infect the weak for their personal gain and to spread their poison to the
MAGA mushrooms. Those people are weak, super weak, and they got money. MAGA mushrooms. If you want your name attached to that crap, hit me up. If you try to start it on your own, I'm going to sue the crap out of you because I have video evidence that it was my idea.
farthest reaches of the civilized world. I really doubt that Shane is watching this, but in the off chance he is, I'd like to try and make an appeal to him in a language that I hope he'll understand.
Finally, this is my fault, but finally we got to the point, or to the part that I did this for. So let's go.
I am not a religious man, but it seems to me as though Shane is, which I fully respect.
Big
Now,
cross.
while I personally view the fear and hatred that he spreads as being the antithesis of the teachings of the martyr who died on the symbol around his neck, it would be unfair for me to judge him on such a thing as, again, I am not a religious man. So I will leave the interpretation of the biblical morality of these actions to someone who understands the scriptures more than I do. But Shane, as an appeal to this part of your identity, I would like to leave you with one of the very few Bible verses that I actually know. I have no idea why I know this one, but I do, and I hope that you'll let it sit with you and metabolize it. Romans 15:1. Now we who are strong ought to bear the weakness of those without strength, and not just please ourselves. Shane, you have an immense responsibility. Throughout this video, I have illustrated that you are failing in that responsibility. You have lied and cheated the fearful and weak to please and enrich yourself. You are getting rich off the backs of those with little to give, and filling their heads with lies that could tear their families apart. This leads me to the final and I believe most pertinent appeal that I want to give you, Shane. I don't know how strong your religious convictions are, whether you live your life diligently by the scriptures and the teachings of love of Jesus Christ, or whether you simply wear that symbol to mask the hatred and fear that you spread behind a facade of piety. But I do happen to know one more part of your identity that is far more ancient and far more sacred than any text on earth. And that, Shane, is that you are a father.
That right there is going to make that guy that he's trying to speak to absolutely, it's going to piss him off. It's going to make him angry. Like, after that statement, might as well not say anything else, because they're going to interpret every word after that is condescending and you trying to make yourself out to be better than them. Like, because they think that hierarchy type mindset. So whenever you go to them and say, hey, you're the parent, you're the adult, you're supposed to be trying to make the world a better place for your children, what they're hearing is, I hate you, you belong at the bottom of the hierarchy, screw you, I die, and don't forget, I'm better than you. That's what they hear. I know, because I've tried speaking like this to people, and they straight up told me, okay, because what do you think about that? And I'm like, oh, I'll let you know. Let me tell you what I thought about that. And it's exactly what I just stated. They interpret it as trying to make myself out to be better than them. Whenever I don't think I'm better than anybody. I don't think anyone is better than anyone else. We are all human. We are all just human trying to make our way through the day, And any benefit to trying to put others above each other in any kind of sense, other than I would much rather go to the doctor than to the guy down the street for medical advice. But that's more of a professional thing. Because like I said, at the end of the day, if both of them are sick and both of them need help, I would want to exist in a society where they have access to the same resources. And they would be good resources. I'm not talking about like crap, We have technology, we have the resources. We do need more doctors. But beyond that, it's more of an access issue for people not getting things treated,
I cannot love that a parent has for their child. It is ingrained in us, our most primal instinct to protect our young and our family and our community. It is a true and universal love felt by every human and animal on the entire planet. You, Shane, are one of the billions of parents on the planet who have the gift of knowing this love. And yet you are parroting propaganda from the elites at the top who profit off of tearing families like yours apart. Because of these elites and the propaganda and lies that they spread, there are 150 parents in American Samoa, just like you, who have had to bury their children in tiny caskets under tiny headstones.
That is not going to get through to this person. Like, that is just like, in Shane Vibe's mind, that is fear, Like, whenever talking about the chemtrails and stuff and how you need to get his chalk, it's weird, but you need to get his chalk to defend yourself against the chemtrails, that's not fear-mongering in Shane's mind. But this factual data that Mini Minuteman is presenting right now, that would be considered propaganda, and that would be considered fear-mongering. So, like, I don't know, Mini Minuteman is actually genuinely trying to get through to Shane. Maybe he's not. He's more in the mindset of hopefully someone that is approaching the same mindset that Shane is in, you can get in there and correct they're, get on track to truth and being a normal freaking person. And he's not trying to target Shane vibes. Like, that may be the goal. And I imagine if it was, he wouldn't say that, because what if Shane does watch it? And what if it does get through? I mean, that would be a miracle. That would be amazing. But I don't know if he is trying to get to Shane or if he's trying to get to future Shanes.
These parents will likely live for many more years and through many more chapters of their life, and someday they will grow old and gray, and they too will die. I don't know how old these parents will live to be, but what I do know is that none of their kids will ever be older than 4. You claim to care about the family unit, Shane, about how important its integrity is, but these parents and these families were not ripped apart by trans athletes or the gay agenda or any of your other nebulous, juvenile, bigoted boogeymen. These families were ripped apart because they listened to people who said the same things as you. Shane, this isn't about supplements or who built the pyramids. It's that the words that you are saying could kill people. There is no way of knowing for sure that someone has foregone needed medicine or medical attention because of the things that you're saying. But the things that you're saying, the lies and misinformation that you spread, are pushing people towards it. So I ask you this, Shane. If someone listened to you and the things that you told them, and the worst were to happen, would it be worth it? Would that fat commission check be worth it? Could you live with the guilt of being the reason that 2 parents somewhere in the world had to buy a tiny little headstone? You need to stop this, Shane. If not for others, for yourself. The final thing that I want to leave you with here, Shane, is that in this case, at the very least, I pray to whatever God there is that you are a hypocrite, and that you, at the very least, have had or plan to have your children immunized. Because believe me, there is no bank account fat enough, no Instagram following big enough, and no commission check fat enough to outweigh the grief of having to buy a tiny little headstone.
That's probably true. I would imagine that, I mean, I don't know, but if I did, I imagine no amount of money or clout or fame would be worth it in this situation. But I feel like, and of course I could be wrong, but if Shane did find out that some of his supplements or conspiracy theory crap did hurt somebody, I don't think he would really care. Like, I don't think something he spends much time thinking about. Because if you're a conspiracy theorist, you can always write it off as the powers that be, they happen, not Shane. You see what I mean? So he's able to absolve himself of all guilt, kind of like I can do by praying for forgiveness. It's like Christian does. At the end of the day, as long as they pray for forgiveness, they absolve themselves of all the guilt. And maybe that's why America is in such a bad place right now. So I went over when I wanted to about the way he was trying to speak to Shane vibes. And, I said, I don't think that it's going to work. I hope that it does. And if it does, I will maybe adopt some of Mini Minute Man's tactics. Because I like to reduce this type of behavior and to weed out this mindset as much as possible. Because as a society, if the vast majority or even of people are believing these types of things, then you can't function as a society. It's just not going to work. Because y'all not everybody has to be the same, of course. I'm not a Christian nationalist that thinks the culture should be homogenous or whatever. I want, different opinions, but we all need to be together on some goals, on some principles, on some values. And if 30% of the population isn't even in reality with the other 70%, then you're going to have something a little bit more than a hurdle. Like, you're going to run into a brick wall whenever you begin trying to do the things that would improve society. We see it happening right now in the United States.